Now we're going to be talking about radiation dose savings using the pulse mode. Obviously we're here in OR with a C-arm, but there's the same settings are in any fluoro room. But we're going to show it to you. We're going to start off with 1 pulse per second. So you're going to see it as a PPS, which is pulse per second. So the lowest setting you can have is the one we're on right now, which is 1 PPS. So as I do it, and almost no one uses this one because there's so much gap in between that you can actually see it, and it's just not very diagnostic. So hopefully we can show it to you as we go. So I'm going to start fluoroing on my abdomen phantom, and as I move, you can just see how choppy that looks, right? So it's just this crazy thing, even though I'm smoothly moving this thing. Okay, so that's why no one would ever use it. Now there's also, we want to show you the dose savings of it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get my timer going here, and we're going to fluoro for 10 seconds. So we're going to start with a 10-second exposure, and I'm not going to move anything so that we're not having a difference between it. So we're just going to stay stationary, and we'll begin right now. All right, so I got a couple seconds left. And the dose was 2.30 milligray. Now I'm going to go ahead and set up and go to the 2 pulses per second. So we're on 2 PPS right now. And so now I'm going to go ahead and start to fluoro, and I'm going to move back and forth, and you'll see that it's still going to be a choppy looking image, not as bad as the 1 PPS, but not good. So here we go. So you can still see it's a choppy, blurry image. It's just not good, and no one really uses it. So in all my entire career, I've never heard of anybody asking for 2 pulses per second because of that quality. So now I'm going to go ahead and set up, and we'll go ahead and do our next exposure, and we'll get ready to show you how much dose there is. Okay, so now we're going to make that 10-second exposure on the 2 PPS. So here we go. How exciting can I make 10 seconds of fluoro when nothing's moving? I don't think I can make it very exciting. All right, there we go. So it's 2.55 milligray. And now I'm going to go ahead and get set up for the 4 pulses per second. So once again, I'm just going to kind of go back and forth and show you the 4. And you can see that this one's starting to get there where it's not so bad, but it's still, for most, most physicians, whatever they're doing, whether they're putting catheters in or doing any kind of barium work, it's still too choppy and almost no one uses it. So now we're going to go ahead and do our 10-second exposure with the 4 pulses per second. So here we go right now. All right, so we got 5 seconds left. And cut. 3.10 milligray is our answer for that one. The 8 pulses per second is what almost everybody uses. So anywhere I've ever worked, when they say pulse it, that's where everybody's going. And you'll see why here as I start to go. You can see that it's really a pretty smooth looking image at this point. So even though I'm moving this along, it's looking really, really good. And that's why everybody uses it. So, the 8 is still going to cut your dose significantly, and it's just the way that everybody is going to use pulse modes. So the last thing we want to show you is just kind of a way of proving to you that even though you're making the exposure and you're pushing down on the button, when you're in these pulse modes, you're not getting continuous fluoro. It is actually pulsing on and off. So we have it set up right now at 4 PPS, And I'm going to go ahead and push down. Now, as I push down, it's going to make the sound of an exposure going on. But as you can see right up here, the time, you'll see how long it takes to get a second to come up. Okay, so I'm going to start exposing right now. All right, so we're exposing away. That was 1 second. That's 2 seconds. So you can see that's how long, it took 5 seconds to actually get 2 seconds because it's just pulsing. So that's how you're saving the dose, because not as much X-ray is coming out because it is just being pulsed.